Hey, what's going on? Nick Unsworth with LifeOnFire.com, here with my main man, Ben Chaib. So Ben has done $926 million plus in sales. So you think we could learn a thing or two about sales from Ben? So I just want to welcome you to Life on Fire TV.
Thank you.
So this is going to be awesome. So we're going to help you break through the number one thing that holds most entrepreneurs back, and that's not having enough sales and the actual technique behind sales. So Ben has trained hundreds of salespeople, led teams, and done, like I said, over 926 million in sales. And give us a quick 10 seconds as to what is the main outcome of the session here today.
Well, really what I want to do is help people how to be emotionally detached from an outcome so they can get more sales. Also race to 100, meaning have more conversations, because it's not about the yeses, it's about the nos.
Yep.
So really be feeling that positive about the conversations so they can get more yeses. But ultimately understanding that every conversation they have has a dollar value to it. So I think that's incredibly important. And the last thing I really want to talk about is really the power of taking control of your conversation, that you can lead the person down any path you want them to go to. But ultimately what we want to do is be in a position of power to really see if the client is suitable.
Yeah.
And really then provide your offering afterwards. You know, a lot of people make the mistake to put your offering up front versus behind you and being the gatekeeper to their offering.
All right, you're gonna hear Ben's S8 process and a full training on how to make more sales so that you can live your life on fire. Stay tuned. Hey, what's going on? Nick Unsworth here, and I'm a kick-ass business coach, and I'm on an absolute mission to help you find your purpose in life, to help you love what you do for work every single day, to help you be the rock star that you are meant to be, to make more money than you ever thought was possible, and to have more time freedom so you can actually enjoy the life that you're living. I'm here to help you set your life on fire. All right, so we are back. My man. Dude, thanks for coming down here today.
I appreciate it.
All right, so let's hear a little bit about your background story and what you have done to get to the point where you have done over $926 million in sales. That is a huge number.
No, it is. I'm very fortunate to build teams that have done that. I mean, it's been personal sales and team sales. But a little bit about me is, I started out in the military. Okay, after college, after high school, and then a little college, I went into the military, and I jumped out of perfectly good airplanes for a living.
Nice.
I always tell people there's a fine line between stupid and gun-ho, and I crossed that line. Broke a couple legs. And
did you really?
Yeah, no,
Dang.
Absolutely.
So I thought that was just like a swagger when you walked in.
No. But then, I got into insurance sales, and I got really excited about helping people, making an impact on people, and I bought into the product and what we were doing, and we're having a lot of success with that.
Yeah.
And when I went from insurance sales and started seeing that the competition had so many offerings out there, and I started learning that I need to believe in what I'm selling. So I transitioned and went into designing kitchens.
Okay.
And really being in the kitchen area with families and understanding what it is to be emotionally connected with people and making people feel great about things.
Yeah.
And so sold kitchens for a living.
Okay.
And I had great success in that. And then I wanted to transition one more time. I wanted to level up my career, increase my education, so I did. And then I went and started working for a university.
Okay.
Private for-profit schools. And that's where things just changed, because I really found out how to really connect with people at another level.
Yeah.
And built sales teams within those universities. And I'd say, my first 10 years of my career generated about $100 million in revenue between insurance, consulting, and designing kitchens. And then the last 14, 15 was the other 826 million working for-profit education, which is, I think it's been an answer to a lot of things that I had issues with, which is finding a school that can take care of me when I have, multiple kids to take care of, and, that provided a great avenue. But I knew it was really doing something great for people out there. So
nice. And so what would you say from all that experience, did you have, what did you do to refine your skills to go from 100 million in sales and get up to over 800? I mean, did you find, investing in yourself, mentors? Like, what were some of the things that you did to get to where you ended up? And then I want to spend today going through some of your S8 process and really have it be very teachable for you, so that for all of the Life on Fire TV viewers can basically just put it into action. But what were some of the steps to get to that point? What did you do to refine and to learn?
Well, one, I invested a ton of money in myself.
Yeah.
I went to a lot of conferences, invested in my education.
Yeah.
Hired a private coach, sales coaches, and started really learning what it was to connect to clients.
Okay.
And so I spent a lot of time educating myself.
Yeah. If you were to put a dollar amount, what do you think that you've invested in coaching and mentors to date?
Between education, coaching, and mentors, I would say at least probably about $110,000 altogether. Maybe even more when I start really thinking about it, because my education itself was further than that. So probably $130,000 to $140,000.
Wow. Okay. And so from that, what have you seen that have been some of the biggest obstacles you faced in your growth as a salesperson and as an entrepreneur? Like, what would be some of the biggest blocks that people have in sales? Something that it's like holding them back, or whether it might be limiting beliefs or just sales technique issues. But what are some of the biggest challenges people have with sales?
Well, one, limiting beliefs. They're not excited about that four-letter word sale, right? And I think you're selling every day of your life. Either you're selling or you're buying. Yeah. I say if you're in a relationship, you sold yourself to get there, right? Yeah. If you have kids, you're selling your way of point of view to your kids for them to buy off and understand and be obedient, right? Yeah. So I think you're always selling and buying. But I think for me, one, the limiting beliefs. People are so emotionally attached to an outcome that keeps them from being successful. Okay. A great example would be if you look at Yelp. Yelp is a great sales tool. Yeah. Right? People look at reviews, right, to find out what restaurant you want to go to. And I have found that people will share a experience, a restaurant, clothing, items that they've purchased with friends all day long. And they're not emotionally attached to that outcome. But when their friend buys it, the company made money, not them. Right. But I believe they were the salesperson and really helped that person make that decision. Yeah. But they weren't emotionally attached. So they actually are better at persuading people when you're not emotionally attached to that outcome. I think that's one. Two, everyone's looking for a yes. When in reality, you should be looking for more conversations. So it's not the yes, it's the no's. Getting people to a decision. Maybes will kill you. Yeah. And a lot of people live and say, someone's going to buy, or I think they're going to do this. They say they're thinking about it. No, you got to when you get off that call or off that interview one-on-one, you really got to get a person to say, yes, I want to move forward, or no, I can't move forward. And it doesn't matter the outcome.
It's true. I mean, there's so much time spent in that limbo, just chasing people and following up. And I feel like that's where a lot of like the emotional, people get excited about the sale and they start counting their chickens before they're hatched and like, factoring it in. And it's like when they're on that fence, they're just stuck, and it's like people don't get back to you, they're like, oh yeah, give me another week. But yeah, okay. And we'll get into some of that, how you get to those decisions in a bit. And so what I'd like to do is jump to what are some of the techniques, or even to go through the S8 process. But before we do, real quick, who can this be used for? So the training that you're about to share, I mean, who is it relevant for? Is it everyone? Is there specific niches, or how can this best be applied?
Well, it can be best applied to anyone who wants to sell and succeed. The name of the company, right? Yeah. Sell and succeed. But I think anyone that's in the coaching industry, consulting, if they're selling any type of tangible product, this process is anytime you're having a conversation with the person. Okay. It's not a, process that you can put in copy form and get people to buy off the internet, right? Yeah. But it's definitely a process in which you have a conversation with another individual.
Okay. Cool. And so on the S8, so where do we start?
So I think what's important is, I believe in the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of your time needs to be about building a relationship with your client. Yeah. 20% about selling your solution. It's about finding and identifying that gap. Yeah. So the first S in the S8 process is share. Now, share is all about, listening to the stories of your client. It's asking questions like, tell me a little bit about yourself, Nick. What have you been doing? and really starting to build a common ground. And, they're going to give you short answers sometimes, but, can you tell me more about that? And get them to open up. It's about finding that connection.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you find a connection with a client, they'll buy from you because you have a friendship.
Right.
And no one wants to be sold, but they want to sell themselves on an idea. So first one is share, which is you're starting to listen to stories, so you have to ask the right questions to get them to open up. Second is suitability. So suitability is about confirming a need. Now, for instance, I do sales coaching and sales training, right? And if I'm talking to a potential client and they want to become a plumber, that's not what I do.
Yeah.
It's not what I teach. So I'm really trying to understand, do they have a basic need and do they qualify for my offering? I know what my offering is, but now I'm trying to find out, do they qualify? So I'll ask them, so tell me some of your challenges that you've had in sales.
Okay.
Or tell me some of your challenges if you're in Facebook marketing. Tell me some of your challenges that you've had doing ads on Facebook. It really depends on, what you're offering to them, right? So you want to know their challenges.
And I think what's good about that is that oftentimes where someone gets really discouraged in their sales, oftentimes they're talking to the wrong people.
Correct.
And they're not qualifying, and they're bogged down because they're talking to the wrong people. And then even if they get them as clients, it's like, I know tons of coaches and consultants that even on the delivery, even if they get them as a client, their business gets really tough and challenging because they're working with the wrong people in general. So, okay. So
yeah, and I think your friend, right?
Yeah.
Lisa Sasevich said, I think she said she learned something from her father, which is not to change your act, but to change your audience.
That's good.
And I thought, to me, it totally related to a lot of things that I teach and do. And it's true, because sometimes you don't want to change what your offering is to fit a certain audience.
Yeah.
You want to give your offering and deliver it, but find the right audience for it. And suitability is about finding the right audience.
And so on the suitability side and finding the right audience, what are just any techniques or things that you can do if you find yourself in front of the wrong audience? What are some of the things that you'd recommend if someone, let's say, is aware, like, shoot, I've been talking to the wrong people or they're not qualified? How do you pivot, or what can you do to find the right people?
Well, I think you set up the conversation first. It says, look, when I'm talking to you, Nick, I really want to understand if I can help you find a solution. Right? And I always tell people the goal of our conversation is for me to help you. Now, it may be something I can help you with. If not, I will point you towards the direction of someone who can help you.
Okay.
So I think if you set the stage that you're not there to sell them, you're there to really help them. I have found that sometimes I'm dealing with someone, which I've dealt with, that they're really looking for driving leads. Well, that's not my expertise. So I said, it looks like that's your main problem, because I find out through questions. So let me point you in the right direction to someone who can help you.
Okay.
Because they have to have leads before they can sell anything, right? So I think, do what's right for your client. And if you can't service them, be honest with them and say, what you're looking for and what I've identified your true need, it's not something I do, but I do know someone who can help you. Let me point them in the right direction.
Which is good, because that kind of authentic, consultative approach is like, you could help them with that need and connect them with the right person. Once they have leads, they're going to need to learn how to sell anyway. They'll end up coming back to you.
Absolutely.
As opposed to trying to jam like the square peg in the round hole.
Absolutely.
So, okay, cool. And any more on suitability? You want to jump to the next one?
No, next one would be significance.
Okay.
Now, significance is basically uncovering a problem.
Yeah.
Identifying, what are the implications of inaction? What happens if you don't make change? And then also it's understanding their motivation, why they're looking for change. I'm really excited about significance for a reason. It really gets a person to the heart of the matter.
Okay.
You get to find out how they really feel about things. Significance is, it would be, Nick, right now you've been challenged with, whatever it is, increasing your sales. And so if there were a solution that could help you increase your sales, what would that do for you?
Well, it would create more capital to be able to grow the business faster and ultimately get my time back.
Okay. And
time back.
If you don't find that solution, what's your life look like?
Well, I just working longer hours, not having the freedom that
I once had that I want more of.
Okay. And tell me, how does that make you feel to work longer hours?
Yeah, not good. I'm married now, man.
Yeah.
You know,
So
I got Megan Ann. When dinner's ready, I got to be there.
absolutely. and so I think that's where you want to get to the heart of the matter, right? If they don't make a change, what does the life really look like?
Yeah.
And I think understanding that significance, the reason why they're motivated to find change, you're able to really identify where they are.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to do. You want to create a gap where they are and where they want to be. Now, you may have a solution that fills in that gap, but you're not going to present that yet. And a lot of people making a mistake is once they find a problem, they say, oh, you need help with sales? Well, I can help you with sales. Let me tell you what I can do for you. And it's not about that. It's about understanding why are they there and why they want to change.
I think that this piece right here is such an important factor, because when someone comes in and they just try and bulldoze the sale with their offer, it's met with such resistance, you know, and the no's, and it's like the gap is everything, you know, to get them to see the need that exists. And so
hence significance.
Yeah, hence significance. And so as we go through the essay process, I do want to also circle back to talking about like the enrollment call. So I know we have a lot of you that are, you know, service professionals, you know, consultants, coaches, marketing professionals that are, you know, doing free strategy sessions and then, you know, turning that into, you know, a sales conversation. So is that cool? We dive back into that a little bit later. I know that all the essay ties into it, but like to speak to that specifically.
Absolutely.
Cool.
I think what's important is the essay and the enrollment call comes together.
Yeah.
Because what people don't realize is the essay process is really asking all the questions that you would ask in an enrollment call. And then finding opportunities to provide value throughout your call.
Yeah.
But with the purpose of leading them to being a client with you.
Nice. Okay.
And so they go hand in hand.
Okay.
So a lot of the questions, what essay process is about having a script. What it is about having an authentic conversation.
That's cool. I know there's nothing quite like getting a phone call with someone that's on the script.
Yeah, no,
it's like you
absolutely.
instantly get like annoyed and pissed off. So, okay, cool. So what's after significance?
So after significance, now you talk about stretching. And now that's imagining the possibilities.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, Nick, so once you find a solution, and you talked about it's about increasing your income.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that. What do you believe, if you find the right sales techniques or you're able to learn the right sales skills, you know you better than I do. How much do you believe that you'll add in revenue per month?
I think with having the right sales team that was dialed in, I think that we could literally grow Life on Fire by an extra $500,000 in 12 months.
Okay. So what would that mean? I mean, $500,000, what does it do for you?
Yeah, I mean, as far as financially, I mean, it allows us to hit our goals, which is being able to give back more, doing our pay it forward videos. That helps other people. That's super fun for us. That's part of why we're doing this in general. That's part of our mission behind it. It allows us to bring on more help so that I get my time back. You know, getting more time to spend with, you know, my wife, having more time for our team members. You know, being able to take people on full time where they're living their lives on fire, where they're not chained to their desk.
Okay.
So quality of life, basically.
Absolutely. Teachable moment. If you guys notice, I asked Nick a question and I shut up. I listen. I let him build the story. I let him talk about what it would mean. In reality, what you guys aren't noticing here, but I want to help you see it, is he's selling himself on the reason why he needs that solution. He's talking about all the things it's going to do for him, imagining the possibilities. And so what I'm doing with that is I listen, and if I want more, I might say, you know, share more. What would it mean to spend more time with your wife?
Well, you know, more time with the wife, you know, we got to get our practice in for having kids, you know what I mean? So, I mean, you know, have some fun with that. More date nights, weekends together, you know. And I think being newly married, I mean, that's something that we want to enjoy this time in our lives. You know, it's a special moment, so we want to live it up to the fullest. You know, that the whole purpose of Life on Fire is to live our lives on fire. So, I mean, you know, sometimes I get out of alignment with that because I'm sprinting and I'm working hard, and I've hit that point a little bit out of alignment. So now it's like coming back in and reining in our schedules and have more time together.
Okay. So right here, we have you expanding your vision, talking about it.
In my head, I'm already thinking about, you know, 4 kids, 6 kids, 8 kids.
And then I'm going to say...
You don't want to know what I'm thinking right now.
I know, right? Oh, we don't need to know all those details.
Yeah. Let me tell you
There's a book written about those details.
Yeah.
But then I think what's great about this is now you're able to laugh with the person, talk with them, and stretching is allowing them to imagine the possibilities. You want to make it as visceral as possible. You want to, ask more questions. Tell me more, advocate boys, girls, you want to dive deep into it because they're really starting to sell themselves, see what it would be to have a solution. And then at one moment you want to take it away. So if you don't make a change, I take them back to significance. Are you willing to give up on all those things you're talking about?
No, I mean, that's, we need to create a shift. I mean, things have to change from where they're currently at. Based on the team that we have and where we're going, we can't keep this pace. It's gonna, mess up our relationship, mess up our health. It's just not why we started the business.
Perfect. So right here is where a lot of people also make a mistake. They start want to pitch their solution. It's still not the time yet. So we've learned a lot. I'm taking notes. I'm writing these things down. Then I go to the next. Select. Select is all about, learning what your options have been, what your client's options are, where they can have gone, what they've already looked at, where they've invested their money, and now why they're talking to you on the phone or why they're talking to me.
Yep.
So I say, Nick, tell me some of the experiences you had with, other sales training.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing a lot just myself, so I've invested a lot in my own sales training. I'm running into a wall with time, just I don't have enough time to train the team members. So what's happening is because I don't have enough time, I feel like they're not getting what they need. So they're not as successful as they should be, which is kind of discouraging them, and it's discouraging me because I'm not able to support them enough. So basically I've been investing in myself and trying to help the team, and I've been almost solely responsible for sales with Life on Fire from day one. So I'm in that stage of building out, sales people. So as far as other companies, I've only invested in myself, so I haven't had other people, that I've worked with.
And this is an opportunity now that you've uncovered that, is you can ask yourself, so why are we on the conversation together? Or why you and I connecting? Tell me what does interest you in you and I talking?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm interested in is basically getting help to essentially further develop my sales skills, but also a team member of mine, so that I can get a little bit of my time back because I'm trying to help him, but I'm really not able to give him enough, time and attention. So if I can get the right help with you, then I feel like, they can be successful, I can be more successful. So
perfect. So this part of the conversation, you've already went through share their story, suitability, you understand their significance, you have them to stretch. Now you want to know why they're selecting you, and you've just disclosed why you're looking for that selection.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because they have a lot of options. Your clients have a lot of options out there.
Yeah.
So you want to identify why they're talking to you. Okay? It's still not time to sell.
Yeah.
But, if I go back to stretching now, because I always say this process, you can go back and forth. And this is an area where I build value. Key to sales is not your pricing, is building value. Because price is only an issue, Nick, in an absence of value.
That's true.
That's the only time
it's
the only time it becomes an issue. So what I try to do is I said, all right, let's go back to, you said $500,000 a year. Right? And Nick, I'm going to use one of the things that you always do on some of the events you do. And so I said, okay, let's imagine if I'm standing in front of you, Nick, and I have $500,000 in cash. Would you give me, or would you invest $100,000 to get the $500,000?
Yeah. Was it instant or is it fast return on the money?
I'm just asking you.
Yeah.
Would you invest $100,000 to get the $500,000?
Yeah.
Great return on investment.
Yep.
Okay. Now here I'm not asking them to invest it. I'm just asking. I'm trying to understand if you would. So that's where we start to go to spend. It's identifying the financial resources and the willingness and intent to spend. So another way to ask that, a client might say, I want to make an extra $2,000 a month, and I'll take it and say, okay, how much is that per year? And I'll say, $24,000. All right, I'm getting $2,000, $24,000. So how many years do you want to do this? They say 10 years. So that's $240,000. So depending on my price offering, I might go, let me ask you, let's just use the $24,000 a year. Would you invest 10 grand to get 24? Whatever the case may be, right? And I'm just finding an intent.
Yeah.
Not, are you going to? Just an intent.
Yeah.
Next step. So I said, okay, now I'm going to put a timing to it. I'm going to see your resources. A great way to find out resources is I'm standing in front of you with the $500,000. You have exactly 1 hour to come up with $100,000. How would you do it?
100K. I mean, we could put it together. I mean,
give me an example. How would you put it together?
I'd be a little reluctant, but I would say, I mean, cash flow of the business. We've got business savings. We've got, credit line, things like that. So yeah, we could come up with it.
So the purpose of asking that question isn't, do you have it? Mm-hmm. It's just, what are your resources?
Yeah.
Because then when I come down and I'm working on the closed portion of the conversation, they've already seeded in their own mind, they have an availability to get resources. Mm-hmm. I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's already been seeded. They have talked about it. So when they say, I don't have any money, I can go right back to the conversation. But you said, you had this, or this is what you were going to do. So spend is all about just...
I mean, I do have an extra hundy under the couch cushion. I mean, that's the other option.
Yeah, no, totally understand. So the next one is about start. Mm-hmm. Okay, start is confirming the intent and when they want to have the outcome, the desired results.
Yeah.
So, when I'm talking to someone, so when do you want to increase your revenue? Well, what's the obvious answer?
As fast as possible.
As fast as possible. Okay, but you got to learn some new skills. People have got to be trained. Mm-hmm. So realistically, where do you want to start seeing a return on your investment? When you find that solution, where do you want to start seeing immediate results? At what time frame?
I mean, if I could get that within 30 days, if it could be cash flow positive, in 30, 60 days, that'd be awesome.
Okay. So you remember when we were talking, so I'm going to use the 2,000 because your business is a little bit different, right? 500 grand, not everyone's going to add that.
Yeah.
But if I use $2,000, and I said, okay, let me ask you a question. Every day that you wait to move forward, how much do you think that's costing you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we definitely, with the right sales team, I mean, we would be growing a heck of a lot faster. So, I mean, every day, it probably is, 5, 10K a month we're missing out on, probably.
Okay. So 5, 10K a month. Now, I think this is an important question that you ask your people, is if you wait, how much it's costing you? Because at the moment they tell you that dollar amount, I always say, you have a checkbook? Mm-hmm. The goal is not to write me a check. I want you to get out your checkbook, and I want you to write whatever it is. For yours, 10K a month, okay? Yeah. It's costing you $10,000 a month. So write $10,000 and write paid to the order someone, because someone else is getting that $10,000. And I want you to put it up on your mirror and look at it every day. Mm-hmm. Because every month you wait, it's $10,000 you've lost out on. And I think when people see that and they feel that, that's when they start to say, okay, it's costing me money not to make a decision to move forward.
Right.
And I was, I heard a conversation with one person that said they went to one of your events. Mm-hmm. And it was been, 2 or 3 years since he's been to one of your events. And he knew he should have launched his business 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And now he was in a scenario that he is no longer working where he was working. And now he doesn't have the business launched.
Yeah.
So I told him, I'm thinking, how much did it really cost that person
Yeah.
not to invest in Life on Fire or Coach or whatever the strategy was to launch his business? Mm-hmm. So I really think it's about taking action more than anything else. And that's the reason why you talk about start.
Yep.
Last, this is it. Now this is when, I talk to my potential client, Nick, or anyone that you're talking to, you start to say, okay, I want to make sure I understood everything. We talked about, want to spend more time with your family, understanding the headaches that you have. And you start listing out everything that they disclosed. And you said, so does I understand that correctly?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So with your permission, can I share with you what I do?
Absolutely.
And then this is when I start to provide a solution. The last step is providing the solution and start interweaving all your problems and gaps and how I can answer them with what I do.
So basically you would be taking notes throughout this whole thing so that every time you're speaking of what the solution is, you'll go back and tie the stretch and the dream with all the different pieces. Okay.
Yeah. And then at that moment it says, okay, we talked about wanting to get here a month from now. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and get started. And then ask for the sale. Ask for the commitment. That's all you have to do is ask. And I have found most people have sold themselves to that process, if you have the right conversation,
Mm-hmm.
that they move forward.
And so as far as the ask goes, I feel like that's where a lot of people stumble or they get the jitters about asking. And you've got a good example. It's kind of a cool exercise that we can do as far as getting as detaching emotionally from the ask. So I'd love to have you speak to just that process or any just details around asking for the sale, and then go through the exercise.
Okay. Well, I think a lot of people are scared to ask because they're emotionally attached to that outcome. So they're worried about getting a yes or no.
Yeah.
And it's all about just getting a yes or a no. To give you an example, and this just teaches you to have value in your conversation. I want to give an example of someone I talked to recently. She was telling me that she had 19 conversations and only got 3 sales. And people would say, wow, that's a horrible close rate. And I said, well, no. How much did you make off those 3 sales? And she said, I made $1,300. So, okay, wonderful. Well, let's take the $1,300 and divide it by the 19 conversations. How much was that? And she goes, $72 a conversation. So in reality, every time you talk to someone, someone's paying you $72. So right now, if I walked behind you and told you I'd pay you $72 for every person you talk to, regardless of what they say, how many people would you talk to today?
I talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, you talk to a lot of people. And that's because you're not emotionally attached to the outcome. But in reality, that's what you're doing when you have conversations. People aren't successful in their business because they don't talk to enough people.
Totally, yeah.
It has nothing to do with what the outcome is.
That is the biggest stumbling block that I run up with. And that's why, of course, why we're sharing this with you guys, with you is that it's just getting people to have enough conversations. Whether we're doing online marketing or grassroots, at the end of the day, it's just numbers, it's math, it's repetition, it's getting more conversations, but it's the fear that holds them back. And I think what's cool is for you to look at it in this way, that it's not about that individual person and being attached to their outcome. Instead, it's just getting more reps in, more people, more conversations.
And there's a way to train yourself to detach yourself from outcomes. And I usually use a deck of cards to do it.
All right.
I always tell people, how many cards in the deck of cards? How many cards
52.
are there? 52. How many aces in a normal deck of cards?
4.
4. So not 3, not 5, but 4. So I think what's critically important is, if you look at that 52 cards as 52 conversations, you're guaranteed 4 every time. So I always tell people, shuffle the deck and start flipping the cards until they get an ace. Being a professional in what you do is about sorting, not convincing. And you're sorting for the right client. So if you're guaranteed after X amount of conversations to get X amount of yeses, right? So the illustration with the card is 52 to get 4. Then what happens is you start sorting through the cards to look for your ace. And when I've had people do this exercise, I tell them pay attention to their emotions. What usually happens is they flip 2 cards to get an ace. They get excited. Oh, I got an ace. I got my sale. And then, so I tell them, write that down. And I said, keep on going. Once it goes over 10 cards, you watch their face and their tone change. And they flip with a little bit more attitude because they're really looking for that ace. But why should it change if you know there's 4 aces? You're guaranteed. You need to find your number. And each person's a little bit different based on their sales skills and their offerings. But once you understand your number, then each card has a dollar value.
That's good. I mean, I think that this addresses what I've got a friend that calls it commission breath, where it's like when you need the sales so bad that you're desperate, and it's like your prospect can feel that, and the way that you're trying to sell it instead of just authentically going through like a process like this. And I mean, for me, I'll never forget my most vivid example of this was when I was selling real estate and I was $50,000 in debt. So I mean, I would have a meeting with a homeowner to get the listing of the house, and it's like I'm thinking of all the bills, I'm thinking of everything, and I'm thinking how bad I need that yes right then and there. And I was so attached to the outcome that it was just like, I'm sweating bullets, you know what I mean? I was just like trying to do everything I could to get the sale. And what was interesting is I just needed to have more conversations. If I put more energy into just getting more of the appointments and detaching, I think I would have had a lot more success at that point in my life. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you want to do the exercise?
Absolutely. You want to do the exercise that we want to do is about having control of a conversation and knowing the end result.
Okay.
Okay?
Cool. Let's do it.
So I'm going to pull a card, okay? And we're going to show everyone the card. All right? Now, I'm going to take this card and I'm going to place it on your lap.
Okay.
Okay? Now, you have, do we have a pen and paper we can get real quick? You got that?
Boom. Trust
Okay. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions and we're going to find out where we end up. All right? So using the numbers, Nick, 2, 4, 6, and 8. Say two of the numbers out loud.
4 and 6.
Okay. So using 4 and 6, say one of them out loud.
6.
So it leaves you with the number?
4.
4. Can you write that down?
Yep.
Hearts, diamonds, spades, and clubs. Say two of the suits out loud.
Diamonds and hearts.
So it leaves you with?
Clubs and spades.
So using clubs and spades, say one of them out loud.
Clubs.
Okay, write that down. So you were left with the number?
4.
And you picked the suit of?
Clubs.
Turn that card around.
What?
You know?
That's
I
crazy.
ask you, who picked that?
My first reaction is that I picked it.
Yeah, and that's what you want your customer to feel. You want your customer to feel like, I made this decision.
Yeah.
But in reality, I've picked it.
Okay.
So what I train people to is I can actually write almost a full paragraph down and just have a normal conversation with you and almost get you to say the full paragraph verbatim throughout our conversation. And so I think it's really understanding how to lead people down the right path.
Yeah.
Asking them questions where they feel that they're making the decisions. It's not
Nice.
manipulation. It's really honestly being attuned with your client and to be able to ask the right questions.
Can I ask you something? How on earth did you do that? So how did the card trick work?
So how does the card trick work? Well, you got to give me a call to learn that one.
That'll be a bonus section. But that's cool. And I mean, the overall, the whole point of it is you're in control.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what's really cool is coming into it. If you're not attached to the result, and if you're in control and you've got the right audience, then you can get an increase in sales and so okay, cool.
And I would say, I really believe this with all my heart. Women are the best at this. Okay. Because you ever felt like you made a decision and you thought it was your decision?
Oh yeah.
Well, we know whose decision it really was,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's about understanding, in a conversation between client and business owner, I guess you would say, or salesperson, it's if I get my client to say it, it's true.
Yeah.
If I say it, my client feels it's suspect.
Right.
So if I say you really want to increase your income, you'd say it. You could say that.
Like, yeah.
But I'm putting that in your mouth.
Yeah.
But if I ask you, so if you were to increase your income, what would you want it to be?
I'd like to have it be about $500K a year.
All right. So what I've done
Net.
there is let you tell me where you want to be.
Yeah.
So I'm now, but on my mind, it was about increasing income. Didn't matter the number.
Right.
So that's what you're learning. If you were to make a change, what would it be? Those type of questions is getting your customer to really say what they ultimately want, not you telling them what they want.
So do you have an actual recording of you using this process, adding value on like an enrollment call or a strategy session that we could put in the notes for this?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Because I think what would be really valuable is you've got the training here from Ben, and I think what's really cool is to take this and put it into practice. So my challenge to you is to take this S8 model and study it and put it into practice. And you can just go to lifeonfire.com and get this. You can go back and get the notes on this. We'll have the full S8 process dialed in. We'll have. Is it okay if we put a presentation of yours up there too?
Sure.
So we'll put a presentation in there, and we can do like a recording of a call where you kind of go through this model.
Absolutely.
So we'll do like a recording. So if you want to increase your sales and you want to make more money and truly live your life on fire, it starts with mastering sales. We all are selling it, all the time. Like
Absolutely.
you said, is whether we're a teacher, a parent, an entrepreneur. So I really want you guys to take advantage of this and put it into action. Don't just learn this here today. Truly put it into action. Let us know your results. And what's so cool is that for Ben, he's in our community. We call it, the Fire Starter, coaching program, and you've helped a ton of our clients, and we've been getting phenomenal results. And it's life-changing because when you can, as an entrepreneur, when you know how to hunt, it just changes everything. I mean, when you can bring in more sales, you can make different decisions. You can stretch and you can, put on an event, or you can stretch and you can, invest in yourself or grow your team.
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's like Mark Cuban says, it's like, when you have sales dialed in, when you know how to hunt, it's like you're completely safe as an entrepreneur. When you don't have this dialed in, that's where it's like cash flow is tight. That's where, where your future's uncertain. That's where it's scary. That's where the negative thoughts start popping in your head. So learn how to hunt. Go to lifeonfire.com, get all these resources. And before we go, Ben and I were talking before we turned the cameras on, and he has agreed to do something that I think is a little crazy. I love you for it, but he's agreed to really over deliver for you. So for you being a loyal fan and subscriber of Life on Fire TV, he's going to hook you up. So we don't know how long this is going to be available, because this content will sit on iTunes and YouTube for some time. But if you're hearing us right now or you're watching this is available, and I would check out the link. We can't put a timeline on how long Ben will agree to do this, but I would check out the link and see if it's possible. So I would love for you to share what you're offering and how you're going to help everyone that's listening or watching.
All right. So what I'm committed to do is, help you guys having strategy calls and really have a sales breakthrough call. So if you go to benscalendarvip.com, that's benscalendarvip.com. What I'll do is I'll spend some time with them on the phone, help them, understand what their challenges are. There'll be some questions to answer, like, what product offering do you have? How much are you charging? What's your revenue goals? And what's been your biggest sales challenge? So the purpose is to really help them have a breakthrough, an aha moment.
Yeah.
I don't care how long it takes. I say it's a 30-minute call, but I allow myself an hour to work with the person to make sure they get full value from the conversation.
That's awesome. And we have had, like I said, we've had so many of our clients that have taken Ben up on this and gotten just incredible results. We're talking folks that weren't closing, and we're doing strategy session after strategy session and enrollment calls. And then Ben, we're at a mastermind together and just said, you know what? I'm going to just hook up the Firestarter community and offer to do a complimentary call like this. And we've had over a dozen people that have just had breakthrough in their sales conversations. And it's authentic, and it's not, this is where you can sell and feel good about it. But how would you feel if you were able to increase the amount of revenue you're able to bring into your business? Were you able to increase your conversions and get more yeses, and learn how to emotionally handle the roller coaster of sales, to do it authentically without feeling like a slime ball. So it's a great offer. So thank you for hooking up, our Life on Fire TV fans. And so again, what was the link?
That is benscalendarvip.com.
Okay, cool. And we're also going to include, we've had so many folks that have just gotten a ton out of your training. So we're going to include a couple very quick clips of their experience working with you and how much you've helped change them and how much you've helped them grow as an entrepreneur by just this complimentary session. So this is completely free. There any strings attached to this?
No strings attached.
No strings attached, completely complimentary. And this dude has literally done over $926 million in sales. I know that his coaching, his mentorship, it's an investment to work with them. And his time is incredibly valuable, and this is a massive give. So it's a limited number, it's a limited time, but no matter when you're seeing this, I would check that calendar link and benscalendarvip.com and just to see if it's available. And if you're catching this right after this airs, I would hurry to benscalendarvip.com because this guy has changed the sales conversations with folks on our team, for our community with Life on Fire. So it's an awesome, huge offer and give. And thank you for that, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Great having you on.
Thanks.
Hi, this is Shirley Solis with ShirleySolis.com, and I want to send a shout out to Ben Chaib. I did a strategy session with Ben a couple of weeks ago, and although I had invested a lot of money and a lot of time in trying to figure out how exactly to do sales calls so that I can get better conversion, I found that I was having to follow some really difficult scripts, and it just didn't feel like I was flowing in my calls. But after speaking with Ben for approximately 30 minutes to 45 minutes, I found that he quickly gave me not a script, but a guideline of what I needed to follow. And he pointed out some things that I had not ever thought before. So as soon as I got off the phone with him, I happened to have a couple of sales calls lined up, and immediately I saw that the way that I related to the customer was much more efficient, and I was having much better outcome, and I actually immediately closed a sale as a result. So highly encourage you to get your strategy session with Ben, and you'll see how your sales will skyrocket. Thanks.
So I have always had kind of a negative stigma with sales, and Ben approached me and said that he could really help transform this view I had of selling and make me more comfortable to sell so that it felt really authentic and genuine. And I didn't actually believe him. And then we got on the phone, and right away he started really breaking down all of the steps for me so that I not only now know how to sell effectively, but how to make it come from a place from my heart so that it doesn't feel icky. And so thank you so much to Ben for helping me get over that, and now my profits have increased, and I feel so much more confident in not only my ability to sell, but also my product. I just have the confidence to share it with everyone, and I have a really easy process for how to do that. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Ryan Walsh, and I was so grateful to be able to get on the phone with Ben because he was able to give me such helpful and memorable tips about sales and enrollment calls that I wish I had learned years ago. Thanks so much, Ben.
So I'm on the phone with a client, and I know that we're a great fit for each other, and I know that I can help her. And so we get to the point where I start talking about my offers and how we're going to fit together, and I start stumbling all over myself. And then she loses interest, and the phone call ends, and I'm not able to help her now. So here comes Ben. Ben comes into my life, and he teaches me how to talk about service and how to create an environment on the phone that feels safe and inviting. And so instead of me selling, I'm creating an invitation to improve someone's life, and it's made all the difference in how I do sales. So definitely recommend going to Ben when you need help with sales training.
I'm here to help you set your life on fire.